Hello folks, another rambling from old Stanton. Hope you're well, hope the weather's not being too cruel to you. Remember spring is on its way, soon be the winter solstice. Where am I? I am south of Brno, northeast of Vienna, Czech side of the border, about an hour from the Slovakian border. How am I? I'm good. Bit of trepidation building up, bit of anxiety. Next week should see me in Romania. Weimar, Satamara, Transylvania. Well, but apart from that, I'm good. Eating well, keeping warmish. Journey so far, England was England, France was France, Belgium was clean and tidy, Maastricht was full of memories, beautiful visit, met a nice guy there, had a chat and a beer and a walk round, he and Brian. Germany I didn't like, apart from the memory rush. Everybody I met there of my age group were just so grumpy. I had two people come up and moan at me. One because I pulled in to a park up and it wasn't the place for me, it was too commercial. So I pulled across over to the edge and got my map out, try and find the next one. We sat nav out, parked for night, and somebody come over and said, "You can't stop here, can't stop here." I said, 2 minutes, I'm checking my map. No, go, no, can't stop here. So another time, if I parked up for a couple of days, which I do now and again, I run my heater on the second day, run my engine for the second day for about 15-20 minutes, top my batteries up, knock on the van, when 5 minutes in, can't run your engine. I'm sat in a cab. All I did is got out, put my heater on, went back, sat in a cab. I could have been driving off. Just grumpy people. Some of the younger ones were alright. I had a couple of people come up to me, saw the English plates and spoke English. But yeah, didn't like Germany. Too organised, I think, for me. I've been avoiding I did a bit of Autobahn across Belgium and Holland, and Germany, but since then I've been avoiding it. On the A roads, on the blue roads in the Czech Republic, and it's beautiful. Windy roads, some of them are a bit bumpy, but normally they're quite good. Beautiful countryside, rolling hills, forests and fields. In Germany, every clearing you went past, there was a shooting stand, you know, the little box on the stilts, so the big brave men can shoot the little animals. And I've seen a few of them in Czech Republic, but nowhere near as many. I've seen hunters out and about in Czech Republic, and I've heard them. I've seen a trailer full of pheasants, but mainly just beautiful wandering countryside. Really recommend it. And the site at Lati, the concentration camp where they kept the gypsies before they shipped them off to Auschwitz, was just so moving. Just didn't know it was there. It came parked for night. It said near the site of a concentration camp. So I thought it was a stop I could use. I'm going to pay my respect, and then I found out what site it was. It was really quite moving. Providence. And the fantastic people at the garage that sorted out my problem with EGR, and just love the Czech Republic. If I come back this way, I'm going to spend more time here. I was in a bar. I went for a couple of beers Friday. Friday. Thought I'd treat myself. Just parked on the edge of the town. There was a barmaid there with a tattoo, with some ink, and it was a ship and a lighthouse. And this is a landlocked country. So I spoke to her with not enough English, and then went to another bar, and just round the corner from where the van was parked. I had a bit of a conversation with a guy. I just couldn't understand the concept of not wanting to be in one place all the time. But just beautiful. Love the Czech Republic. Slovakia next. So, edge of the grid thing. Why edge of the grid? Well, what can I do from the edge of the grid? I tried to do something on the grid, and they gave me a medal, 1992 New Year's Honours List, British Empire Medal. But you can't. It has to change. You have to stop feeding it, and that's the decision I made, is to stop feeding the system. I don't mean not pay taxes. I pay taxes. They take it out of my pension. And remember, if you're paying taxes, you're effectively crowdfunding my journey. So keep it up. But you've got to stop buying the rubbish, buying the spanking new trainers, because they're spanking new trainers, they're £1 t-shirts, and just stop feeding the system. Most of my clothes come from charity shops. I'm really conscious of how much plastic I generate. I follow a vegan diet. They say we've got to cut the world's meat consumption by 20%. I'm doing it for 5 people. It's my choice. Mind you, I'm fitter now since I've been following that than I have been for a long time. But you've got to stop feeding the system. If you feed it, it'll keep growing. So that's my edge of the grid. Political statement. Today's political statement is, for all you non-limeys out there, non-Brits, non-English, the public school system in the UK is the private school system. It's the Eatons and the Harrows and where all our leaders come from. The ones that have taken us down this road. So I'm going to ask the question, is the public school system failing the state? Think on that one. Now for some people. First one is Simon Viking. Simon Viking, I've seen up the drove. He was in a transit and then he got himself a big horse box. And I know the guy struggled of late. I think he's better now. I saw him a few weeks ago before I came away and he looked really good. Happy and yeah, it's good to see him smiling. He's down in Devon now, I believe, with his horse box, trying to get his life back together. It's good. We myself, him, Angela Fire Angel and Derry spent the second city lockdown parked up at Woodhenge after we got moved off Stonehenge off the drove. Sat there for 6 weeks, just a nice little group of us, not in each other's faces. If you didn't want to be bothered, you just stayed in your van or did what you want. If you wanted some company, you went and joined somebody in the van, had a chat and a cup of tea. Just a nice little group, and a good conversation with Simon. And also he spent time in a military family, and so he understands the term pad brat, so we had a bit in common. Yeah, good guy. I like Simon. Next one is Kylie. Kylie lives in a horse box. She was in an LDV Maxus with 2 kids when I first met her. Very astute, very intelligent, very wise woman. Now with a 3rd child, spent a year converting a horse box, big old truck, with the help of Sean and a few others. A hindrance of me, maybe once or twice, and but she's just lovely, and she's the true rebel. She's doing this. I think she'll probably end up horse-drawn. She was telling me about they took their horse and the cart out. Yeah, a wise, found a very wise lady. I saw her and Sean sat at a campfire on the drove just before I came away, and the aura surrounding both of them was absolutely phenomenal. It was dazzling. I'm not sure what status they're at, but they are, yeah. Next one is Derry. Derry's not from these parts, from way, way, way down south. Been to a few other places on her way here. Spends a lot of time in Bristol, got a van. I think she lives in a van when she's in Bristol as well. She used to have a little transit, which was done out different from any transit I've ever seen, but the logic behind it was great. And I think she's now in a bigger Iveco. Not seen that one yet. Got a couple of little dogs now. But you look in her eyes and she's just so worldly wise, and she's so cynical and so mature. I think it's her world travels. But yeah, the comments she comes out with sometimes are just great. I just think, yeah, you're a lot wiser than your age, girl. And yeah, and the last one I want to mention today is Claudia. Claudia came from foreign parts, came to the UK to get her children a better education than she could get in her homeland, and then discovered van life. She got a place up in East Midlands. Kids rent it off her, I think, now. And she spent a lot of time down the Drove. Very spiritual, very profound, just nice van life. And I know she's been back home, went to see her mum. I believe she's back now. She posted something about a light aeroplane flight across Essex the other day. But she just nice company sat around a fire, chat to. Yeah, that's the people I wanted to mention today. Now, a story or two. Back at 3Div, I was a cable guy. We were combat lineman was our official title. Division brigade headquarters, or division or brigade headquarters, and the Corps had a big cable guy contingent, liney contingent, and we used to set up the telephone systems for the staff officers when they're in the field. Lots of cable, 10 pair, lightweight quad, D10, P3, depending on what you were linking, up to the radio debts or whatever, up to the hills. Heavy work, dirty work, long hours setting up a location, maybe 2 or 3 days break, and then off to the next location. And I used to be in the harbour party. It was 4 Land Rovers with relevant people in, and my truck, me and another guy in my truck, 4-ton MK, loads of cable in the back, sometimes a trailer on, and we'd go in first and start to get the cable out ready. The guys in the Land Rovers would pin out which tent's going where, and we'd start getting it ready for the rest of the team to turn up. Now, I was the slowest at this harbour party, so they used to have to wait for me, but we pulled into a location. It's winter in the hills in Germany, a lot of snow, a lot of ice, going up this track, getting higher and higher, and I'm thinking, I wonder how much flat land they've actually found at the top of this hill. I'm really struggling with traction because of the packed ice. 4 Land Rovers in front just get to the clearing at the top, where I assume the location's going to be, and they stop on the slope, and I'm flashing me horn lights, pounding me horn, no, get out of the way, because if I stop here, I'm not going to stay here. But they didn't know what was going on. I had to stop and just slid backwards, tried to regain traction, didn't happen, dropped the back into the back corner into a ditch. Well, there's no way the other trucks are going to get up here when the rest of the convoy arrives, so lots of hoo-ha, and they decide. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get myself out of the ditch. 4 hours later, I'm out of the ditch. They've gone back down. They said nobody else is coming up. Come on down, take it slow. We'll wait for you at the bottom. So, turn the truck around, going back down this track. Told nobody's going to be coming the other way. Halfway down, truck comes up the other way. He can't stop, I can't stop, same reason. I pull over, he pulls over, we squeeze past each other. I misjudge it, drop my back off the back corner off the bank. 40-foot drop. I know if this truck goes over, it's not going to be nice. I went out through the cupola cover, which is the round hole in the top. Co-driver went out the side door. Luckily, the truck wedged itself on the edge of the bank. Didn't I roll in? Scary moment. Turns out the truck coming up the other way was the colonel trying to prove whether it could be done or not. what can I do? Another 4 or 5 hours to get out of there. Then we go back to the location we'd come from, whilst they decide we're going to go next, and the reconnaissance officer sorts out his new career path. Sitting in the tent, been a tiring day, quite stressful. Flap of the tent opens, big 12 by 12 tent. RSM stood there with a crate of beer. Stanton, he says. Yes, sir. No paperwork. Yes, sir. Nice night. RSM paid for, Colonel paid for. Anyway. And there's another little story I've got to tell, which was not me. This man is a legend amongst, no names, no pack drill. He's a legend amongst linemen. When we used to set up these locations, it was tents, vehicles with radios in, vehicles with comms equipment in, most of the staff officers are in tents, GS tables, maps all over the walls, hung off the tent poles, tent frame. We used to set up the location and we'd have 2 or 3 days rest before we got ready for the next location. We used maybe have a beer or two, but we'd have a duty lineman who'd be sober and his job would get called out if there's any faults. And this guy got called out 3 o'clock in the morning by a staff officer, so he goes over to the tent. It's funny, they used to have security clearance to go in these tents, unless the phone didn't work, and then they'd let you in. Sometimes they'd put a cover over the map, sometimes they wouldn't bother. But anyway, this guy goes in, this staff officer says, look, this phone, I need it changing, because there's no rubber stoppers on the feet, and every time I dial the phone, it slides across the table. Really inconvenient. 3 o'clock in the morning he decides to make this call. So, duty lineman says, okay sir, goes off, doesn't come back with another telephone, comes back with a 6-inch nail and a lump hammer. Nailed the phone to the desk. He went to jail for it. He said it was worth every minute, and the man is a legend amongst linemen. So, harbour party and nailed telephones. That's about me for today. Didn't like Germany. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Hope we're all keeping well. Oh, poems. I'm going to do some poems. Oh, see. You wouldn't believe what I did earlier. I set my stuff up, pressed the button, went all the way through it, and realised I was on camera. So I got a picture of me at the beginning and a picture of me at the end. So I've had to do this again. So anyway, this is from my Seagulls in the Sun series. Parked in farm country, golden field out there. 1,000,000 ears of corn, and not a bug to return my stare. Sprayed away, cleaned away, like they weren't even there. But someone made a profit, so they are happy beyond all care. Great big machine keeps everything clean, does away with the team. Profit for fewer as the machines get newer. They, like us, when the bugs die, they will be no more. You ever had a bad day? Here's my bad day poem. Stupid. You had a stupid moment on a casual day. You had a stupid sway, in a stubborn kind of way. When the mist has cleared, move with time and place. Don't with stupid stay. You're not stupid. And this is another day. And now a person poem. I've talked about this person and I've lost my marker. Come back, there you go. I've talked about this person, but you know the rules. If you work out who the person is, you've got to contact them and ask them for the poem. Loves Daddy Longlegs, so you know this one's weird. Focus so strong, don't do this child of the whole world wrong. Guided by a spirit born of many ways, this package of stardust is a legend to be made. This world-wise warrioress, a friend to be revered. Next week, Transylvania, hopefully. Trying to make some contacts there. If anybody knows anybody in Satamara, Biamara, north of Cluj, in Transylvania, please get in touch. I've tried talking to the charity I used to work for, never got a response. I'm going to put another shout up on the Band Life Europe group. Got to do some admin before I go over the Slovak border. Got to fill a form out online. I've been talking to a guy in Hungary about what I need to do to go through Hungary. I'm only going to be there 2 days. If I can avoid the motorways, do I have to buy a what you call it, vignette? I know I've got to get one from Romania and Bulgaria, but that's fine. Because after Transylvania, I'm going to hopefully wander down to Bucharest and then cut south. Might go over to the coast, really, because I think it'll be a bit milder. I might do the mountains, don't know, we'll see. Winter is coming. And happy travels. Bye folks. Click.